Why did we give up full-time RV life? And is full-time RV life right for you? Welcome back to Millers in Motion. My name is Ryan, along with my wife Lauren. We used to full-time and recently bought a home base in Texas and are now weekend warriors. So in this video, we're going to go through why we made that decision, and a difficult one at that, to get off the road full-time, go ahead and settle down, put some roots down back here in our home state of Texas, and switch to a more weekend warrior part-timer status with our RV. Also, the reality of owning a home is that we need to go run some errands. So we need to go pick up some things for the horses, a little bit for the RV and the house. So we're going to go run some errands while we have this conversation about why we decided to switch to part-time. Okay, in case you're new here, I just want to catch you up. So we used to full-time in an Alliance Valor 44 V14, which is a very large fifth wheel toy hauler. So now that we've gone to part-time, we actually use an Alliance Delta 252 RL, and spoiler, we actually really enjoy it, but there's a considerable size difference. We're going to go into some of those comparisons later, but why did we decide to get off the road? Let me get these bins out and we'll grab Lauren and have a quick conversation. Okay, babe. So what about all of this, especially the house itself, made you want to switch from an RV to a house, at least for this season of our life?
I think it started kind of with the whole idea of stability for me. I found out that I was very much a creature of habit, and I learned some things about myself when we did full-time RV life.
Yeah, we were sitting in the RV in late August in Texas of last year, and if you've been in Texas, you know. It's about 105 to 110 degrees outside.
Every day, it's set to broil, basically.
And we had at that point, we had our Furrion Cube ACs installed in the Valor, so we were actually doing better there, but it's still a fight.
It wasn't as enjoyable, and the little things, cooking, taking the dogs out, everything.
And so for us, we're sitting there in August, we realized that between family stuff and work obligations and all that, we weren't able to be on the road quite as much as we wanted to be.
Sure.
So we kept getting pulled back to Texas quite a bit more than we anticipated, and being forced to stay in Texas longer than we anticipated too.
Right, through snowstorms, through August, through all kinds of things.
So that was our main kind of jumping off point, maybe we should consider buying a house.
Right.
And then it led to the following conversations we're about to have. But we also need to go get some stuff done. So we're going to talk while we go.
Let's go.
One of the other things that was a big factor for us is that with the channel, which we are appreciative of, sometimes we would get opportunities to go do things that both of us couldn't go do, unfortunately, because of work schedules.
Right.
Or we'd have to go for maintenance runs up to Alliance. Yeah. A plethora of things that would cause the RV to need to go. But just like anything else, Lauren has a full-time work schedule, and then I obviously have things that pop up as well. But if the RV needed to go and one of us couldn't, and this happened more times than not because I'm the driver of the RV, I would go and the RV would go and Lauren would not. Right. What did that do to you?
That essentially left Lauren and the dogs homeless. And I say that jokingly, not jokingly. We have wonderful family and friends that would let us stay with them, but it's very cumbersome, right? Because you have to pack up, and anybody who has kids, you have to pack the kids too, and all their snacks and all their supplies and things. And so for him to leave for a week was a huge task. And it involved, in my opinion, inconveniencing somebody else, because it wasn't just me, it was also the two big dogs.
Right. So the other side of that too is obviously I didn't love the idea of when Lauren couldn't come with, but unfortunately with kind of, again, the nature of how we do the channel and everything else, it's just part of it. Sometimes the schedules don't work out and we have to do that. So a lot of times too, when I had to leave Lauren in that situation, it also caused pressure on me wherever we were going to get done quicker so that we could get home in time to do that. So for us, that boiled out to typically 2 to 3 times a year with the opportunities that we had to go do things caused a problem.
It kind of did. And sometimes it took my drive to work from 10 minutes to an hour.
Right.
These were some big differences, to be honest with you. And we're grateful for the opportunities.
Sure.
And we didn't realize how much we traveled separately until this kind of brought all that to light. All right, another big factor in us deciding to go part-time was these guys right behind me, the horses. So we actually had 3 horses and 2 miniature donkeys when we went full-time. And very recently we lost one of our horses. And I have 2 now that are still getting a lot older. So I really miss being able to put eyes on them every day. And so that was just something that was really motivating for me and made me a lot more comfortable is they were getting phenomenal care, but getting to spend time with them as they get older, I just really wanted to be part of that. The big guy behind me, the brown one, if you will, he is a very hard keeper, as they say. So he requires like special food to keep weight. He gets really cold really easily and loses body fat. And his feet are very funny and he needs some pretty skilled care in that. And it was really hard to organize that from the road or from, hours away wherever we were. So being able to kind of manage that a little bit more intimately, if you will, that makes me happier and makes him more comfortable.
So another big factor for us when we were trying to make the decision of to continue to full-time or to make the transition into a sticks and bricks and part-time was, quite frankly, financial. And while we love these RVs, we've loved, for better or worse, we've loved every RV we've had. The last 2 a little bit more so than the first one, but we love the flexibility and the freedom that they bring. But they are a depreciating asset. At the end of the day, they're a vehicle. And I think a big thing for us was it finally was weighing on us as far as the continuously purchasing new RVs at a depreciating rate versus an investment in something that has a longer term ROI. And real estate was one of those areas that we've always enjoyed investing in. And so having a house to call our own realistically for us made the most sense because just the money that we'll get in return on it, with obviously there's a right and a wrong way to purchase a house and all those things. And I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty details of it, but for us, it was a bigger deal to actually own the home and have an RV to trip in versus the other way around from a financial perspective. It's hot in Texas right now, if you were just a little bit curious.
It is, but that's okay. We're going to be all right.
Yet another reason why we decided, but that's all right. So another thing that we talked about whenever we were trying to make the decision to go part-time or not was the dogs.
The dogs. Now, they were great for travel. They did amazing.
And they still are.
And they still are. But like when it was really cold, they didn't want to spend a whole lot of time outside. When it was really hot or rainy, the same thing. So they weren't getting a whole lot of exercise other than like the hikes when the weather was nice.
The other side of that too is that they couldn't necessarily play inside the RV as well. I mean, they could, but
they tried.
Again, it was a give and take on that one a little bit because simply there just wasn't a ton of space. And we felt like they were kind of slowly, I don't know, getting lazy is the right thing, but they seemed less happy as we went. And then now that we've been in the house for a few months, they seem to have perked back up, which
a little bit more active.
There are kids at the end of the day, and so if they're happy, we're happy.
But I think that could kind of be said for us too, that maybe we weren't as active in the RV because there wasn't a good place to work out or that sort of stuff. What do you mean? And so we walked the dogs, but I wouldn't call it exercise.
No, so got a little claustrophobic at times. Yeah. We were fine in the small space. We were fine in a smaller space, spoiler alert. But over time, you just become more sedentary, which ironically, I heard someone talk about that. Like you can either go super active or super sedentary because your fridge, office, and living room are all within like 3 feet of each other.
Right.
And that's kind of what happened to us, unfortunately.
And unfortunately, the weather outside dictated that for us too.
It did. Last, but definitely not least, I would argue probably one of the bigger things weighing on my mind, at least. And one of the biggest reasons that we kind of decided it was time for us to buy a house and settle down was every time we would go somewhere that we would consider a vacation, it never felt like that.
Right. We spent a lot of time working and just kind of doing day to day and not actually enjoying the places we were or the people we were with sometimes.
Well, and don't take me wrong. Like when you full-time, it's a different mentality. So don't take this as like we're knocking full-timers because they can't take a vacation. They do.
Absolutely.
But when we make RV content, and this has something to do with it, and when you travel with the RV, you feel obligated to film constantly. Right. And with me, like when we took our last trip up to Wisconsin that you guys have seen the last few weeks, we filmed, but I didn't worry about editing. I mean, I dropped,
Right.
I did some workflow file organization stuff, but that was just to make sure that we cleared the cameras off. So it felt like a start to stop. We're gone. We're on vacation. The dogs are here. Someone came and watched the horses.
Right.
We're gone. We're out of here. Whereas previously we would take the RV somewhere and my office was in the back, if I was speaking about the toy hauler specifically.
Right.
And it wasn't that hard. And all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I got to do that maintenance thing over there.
Yeah.
And I got to do this and I got to do that. Now, like for instance, I need to work on the rig a little bit. So we've actually been back for about a week now. And I pulled the RV back up just to kind of get some tweaking done on it.
Right. And maybe some other people were better at that balance than we found. But as far as we go, that was kind of hard.
With that, is full timing right for you or is part-time weekend warrior right for you? Well, at the end of the day, we only gave you our why we did and haven't and doing and all of those things.
Right, right.
So you have to make your own decision. The only thing I would tell you is that I think unless you do full-time, I don't think you know.
And even when we jumped into full-time, some of the things that we saw as a positive actually kind of turned out to be a negative. So even we didn't know until we got into it.
What do you mean? Like, I'm curious what you mean by that.
We said our house always comes with us. Woohoo! That's exciting. Well, but then it was
So
like
there's all the chores that come with said house.
the laundry always came with you, and the work always came with you, and things like that. And it was like we have the dogs with us all the time, which is fantastic. But also the dogs were only with you; they didn't get to go into the yard or different things, so they were really with you. So we didn't know that about ourselves until 3 years down the road.
Well, and I think, the other side of this too is like during COVID, we weren't full-timing when that happened, but I think that knowing that something like that is potentially a thing in the future, knowing we can crash here and it doesn't stunt our ability to travel in any way comparatively to what we were already doing.
Right.
Now, again, we had a unique situation in that we had work obligations that brought us back to Texas, family obligations, all of those things. And so for us to actually go and travel, I would actually argue it's easier now.
Yeah, I agree to an
So
extent.
far.
So far.
We'll let you know.
Yes.
But it's like we actually have more things scheduled to get out in the RV and not the RV than we did previously.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of hard to get, after a while at least, it was kind of hard to get excited about moving the RV
Kind of was.
to a new place. Now, maybe if we were in a drivable and it was a different season in life, maybe it would have worked out. And don't take any of this as we didn't like it. We loved it. There was something great also, all of these arguments against, and I'm about to give you a 4. There was something too when you pulled up somewhere that everything is where, like for the dogs, everything was where they knew it was.
Right.
Nothing changed inside those walls.
Exactly.
And same thing for us, and it was our bed. Now, granted, it's still our bed. But, knowing that our clothes, we don't have to pack. You just kind of, you do. You just kind of pull everything in and then you go. And now we have to legitimately pack.
And unpack too. And so, when we land, it does take a little bit longer. But that's okay.
Thank you for watching and listening to us ramble. But hopefully this is a little insight to why we chose to come to a Sticks and Bricks.
Again.
Well, after full timing. And I think the important thing too is just do whatever it feels right to you. If it's full time, do that. If it's part time, do that. If it's weekend warrior, do that. If it's tent camping, I don't know what's wrong with you, but do that.
And sometimes you don't know till you try.
Exactly. So don't be scared to try, but just know that whatever works for us might not work for you, might not work for other people. So
That's right.
thank you so much for watching. I almost guarantee our moms did not watch this.
That's okay. Anyways, bye, Mom.
Bye.